everybody, and welcome to the Northside 9. This is 4-star Chicago sports, and this season's went down quickly. 21 left on the docket. Who the Cubs play after last night? The Mets and Padres are tied. We're going to take a look at both of them, find out who you rather play. I know who I'd rather play. All that and a lot more right after this.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars align. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago.
Stretching it out here a little bit early in the morning. I left my wallet at my buddy's house last night. You know, Chris, I had to get up and take an hour round trip to get my wallet. I started moving a little bit earlier than I wanted to this morning. How was your evening, Cal?
We were busy yesterday, man. I don't think I got home till like 4 o'clock, 3:45, 4. So I probably fell asleep around 4:30. So a little tired, man. A little tired.
Jeez.
Bears game
really
on Monday, Sean. I'll be all right.
Burning that midnight oil. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. And I just got our tickets confirmed. They're in my Google Wallet. So I know I'm doing that. And I got us a special treat for parking because we are in the premium lot in the South lot this time. I don't know what that means, but we'll figure it out on Monday. So we got a short period of time here. We got about an hour and 20 minutes because the Cubs pre-show starts at 12:45. We're going to work you right up to that first pitch at 1:20 this afternoon on the north side where Lord takes on Boyd, and hopefully the weekend gets started off wonderfully with the Cubs win yesterday. Cubs 13-7 in their last 20. Can't beat that with the bat. But there was a topic I didn't have on here that I wanted to discuss with you, but we're going to kind of tie it into postseason rotation. And, you know, this is taking a humongous turn, Kyle, because Rookie of the Year, right now it looks like it's headed to the north side of Chicago. Here's the Rookie of the Year race. I did this morning at 8 o'clock, so these are current odds. Cade Horton minus 115. Drake Baldwin actually earlier in the week was plus 160. He dropped to plus 150. And Isaac Collins, who is at one point minus 115, is now plus 600. I think he might have fallen out of this race with 21 ball games to go. So it looks like a 2-horse race between Baldwin and Cade Horton. Now, as we start talking about Cade Horton, historic run. Second half ERA is only managed by one man. And in the modern era, as Marquis was so kind to show us, there's a little history since 1933, minimum of 9 starts. He is only 0.2 of a percentage point behind Jake Arrieta as the best ever. Now, we're going to continue on this. Obviously, such a fantastic second half. 47 innings pitched, 44 Ks, 0.77 earned run average, 81 whip. Jake Arrieta is the only Cubs pitcher since 1920 to allow 4 runs or fewer across 9 starts after the break. Kyle, we know Matthew Boyd's been the big dog all season, but it seems like Cade Horton might not only be the big dog, but one of the best dogs in all the league. We're going into the postseason and it started tomorrow because, ladies and gentlemen, the Cubs are 10 games up in this race. They are going to the playoff. They have expanded their lead since the last time we spoke. It is now up to 5 games with 21 left over the San Diego Padres and the New York Mets, as the Padres dropped one last night. The Mets won and tied them in this wild card race. So, Kyle, if we get into – we're going to go over what the Cubs did with San Diego. But your rotation, how would you manage this rotation, especially if you're against San Diego with those big boppers that they have, and you know one Shota likes to give them up?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Sean, Cubs need to pull out all the stops. I mean, if the Cubs need to take every advantage they could possibly get to win a playoff series, I'm starting Kate Horton. Even if they don't, if people are like, "You're crazy, he's a rookie." I mean, the guy's literally been unhittable for the last month and a half. I think the decision's been made for you. No, I mean, unless you have some loyalty to Shota Imanaga and you don't want to hurt his feelings, but that's not how you win baseball games. I mean, at the end of the day, you put your best foot forward, and right now, Cade Horton is that guy. He's been the best Chicago Cub since the All-Star break. And what's up, John? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. And I had to, like I said, I had to leave the house early, and I ran into Hit and Run on the score. And it was David Hall and Bruce Levine, and it kind of made me mad because they were kind of going over the same topic. I'm like, man, we're usually ahead of everybody, but they got to us this morning. But nonetheless, when I start thinking about this rotation, the regression of Matthew Boyd, and he'll be on the bump today. We'll hopefully see if he can turn this thing around just a little bit. August was obviously bumpy with that over 4 earned run average. Shota giving up the long ball. His earned run averages was at around 2.7. It's now over 3 at 3.14. And you have this young kid who's just tearing up the league. Minimal innings pitched, and this is the big thing. They pulled him with the no-hitter the other day, which was, I know everyone was like, oh, this sucks. They should have left him in. They should have left him in. I love what Kate. Did you hear what Kate said after the ball game? Okay.
No.
He wasn't upset at all. He goes, hey, man, if pulling me in the 5th inning means I get to pitch longer in the playoffs, I'm doing whatever it takes to win postseason games. And I'm thinking, man, here's a young kid. What an attitude. What an attitude to be pulled in a no-hitter. And maybe it bothered him. But to go out and have that moxie to sit on the stage and be like, hey, man, whatever helps us win, I want to win. Now, seeing that this kid has had so many, or not that many innings pitched, how do you manage him? Do you allow this kid to go 80, 90 pitches in a playoff game? Or are you trying to back him up with, I don't know, you can't do Ben Brown. I don't even want to see Ben Brown on this playoff roster at this moment. But maybe a Colin Ray. Is that something you would trust? Because there's a good chance he gets burned out.
Well, you would think that if they get into a playoff series, especially a wild card series, that they would shorten the rotation. So I'm assuming Javier and Saad would probably become your long inning reliever in the playoffs, because I certainly don't think he's going to be starting in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, Sean, if, like I said, you got to pull out all the stops. If you really want to win a World Series and you're going all in, you got to do everything you can. And if that means letting Kate Horton pitch into the 7th, 8th inning, then so be it. I mean, this is it, right? This is the end of the season. You don't win these games, you're out. So you got to do whatever you possibly can to win. We've seen this in years past where they're very careful with pitchers throughout the entire season, and they get in the playoffs, then all of a sudden Aroldis Chapman's pitching every day, or John Lester's coming in off 3 days of rest to relieve Kyle Hendricks at Game 7 of the World Series. It's not unheard of. I would expect the Cubs, if they made it to the playoffs and Kate Horton was pitching his lights out and he was getting up toward 80, 90 pitches in the 7th inning, I think they let him tap out around 100. And Sean, if you're talking about Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga for the number 2 spot, I think even though Matthew Boyd's had a higher ceiling this year because he looked dominant at one point as well, I think you have to let the more consistent guy pitch Game 2. So I bet you Shota Imanaga would be their Game 2 starter for sure.
Yeah, and for me, maybe obviously it'll come to matchup, lefties versus righties or whatever the case is, but I would like to see Kate Horton pitch Game 1, and like you said, Kyle, I think this should be a layup for Craig Counsell. He's done some wacky crap over these past 6 weeks, and we're going to get into. John just said no more giving away games to what was that? What did he just say up here?
Bad team. No more giving away games to bad teams.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in just a minute, because it seems like Counsell has been throwing in that white flag, and when we take the first 2 games of a series, it's kind of getting a little frustrating. But on top of that, if you get Kate Horton in that Game 1 role of the playoffs, that probably means you get to see him the most. And the way I'm looking at it right now, the way he's been dominant, I mean, just in that no-hitter, dude, he threw 21 straight strikes. I mean, that's unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. Like, they're just mowing him down. I definitely want to see this kid. But I'm gonna ask you this. He just pitched against the Braves. He had a no-hitter through 5 innings. He's going to take the bump next week against the Braves again. In this short period of time, I honestly believe because the Braves, I mean, Albies is still a good player. Acuna is a good player. Olson's a good player. That lineup isn't short on good hitters. I think this is a really big test for him to be starting this close against a team. Also, kind of what you would expect in a playoff series. You know, if he has to, if they stretch it out to game 5, he's going to see him in game 1. He'll probably be back in game 4 or game 5. So, Kyle, when you look at this and say, how big of a test is this game against Atlanta coming up for Cade Horton?
So I would just say don't overthink it. I mean, you're right. They do have some really good hitters in Atlanta there, but they're not playing the way they normally play. This has been a really bad season for Atlanta. And if you look at the statistics, you look at the metrics, you look at the record, not a very good team. I mean,
Yeah.
I could see what you're saying. You're talking about like it's almost like it would be his 5th, 6th, and 7th time through the order if he's playing them back-to-back games, basically back-to-back starts, I should say. But at the end of the day, I trust Cade Horton. I think Cade Horton trusts his stuff. And when he's on and he's hitting location, Sean, I don't think it matters who he's pitching against. It could be the best of the best in the league. And I think Cade Horton's just overpowering sometimes. And I expect him to look exactly the same this time out as he did last time. He's just right. The second half of the season, man, he's just on. He's hitting every single pitch, every spot, every location he wants. I think unless something drastic happens, I think this is basically the Cade Horton you're going to get throughout the rest of his career. And guys, I'm not saying that he's going to allow you 4 runs in the span of 9 games for the rest of his career. I'm saying I think he's going to be a very dominant pitcher in Major League Baseball for a long time. And that's what we were told when they drafted him, right, Sean? They drafted him in the first round. Yeah. And they said, this is going to be our future ace. This is the guy that all the Cubs fans have been waiting for the Cubs to draft a pitcher. They've been waiting for the Cubs to draft a pitcher. We've always been good at drafting the position players. We've never really been good at drafting pitchers. Well, I think Cade Horton's going to be the exception to the rule this time around, man. I think he's a very, very, very good player, and I think he's been a good player for a long time. But yeah, Sean, he should be starting game 1, no doubt about it. That's not, if that doesn't happen, this Craig Counsell's conversation is going to get out of hand because there's been numerous times now since the All-Star break where Craig Counsell has done some things that are very, very concerning.
Yeah. And as we move into this playoff bracket, and as it stands right now, the Mets and Padres are tied, but the Padres currently do hold the tiebreaker in a head-to-head if they were to end up tied. So currently, this is what your bracket would look like if the season ended today. This is where we would be. The Cubs would be taking the Padres. The Dodgers would have the Mets. The Brewers and the Phillies would get the bye. The Cubs would then, oh my God, match up with the Brewers in the second round. And that would, oh my Lord, would that be something? Would that not be something? Oh my Lord. And the AL is where it is right now. It seems like the Yankees are starting to pick up some steam a little bit. Kyle's hot take, and tell me if your opinion's changed yet on this, Kyle. Kyle likes the Astros coming out of the AL. Are you still there, even with Framber Valdez and his catcher getting into it the other day? That was awkward.
Yeah, very awkward. I'm still kind of confused as to what exactly happened. I mean, basically what they're saying is the catcher was asking for a pitch outside, and he threw it at him because he was upset about the previous pitch or something. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they'll get all that hashed out before the playoffs. Listen, Sean, the AL is so bunched up right now. There's really nobody who stands out. Every team in that playoff hunt that you just showed has had stretches where they look really good, and they've had stretches where they look really bad. I mean, Toronto started off the season really bad. Yankees have went through a really poor stretch. Detroit coming out of the All-Star break didn't look very good. We know the troubles that they've seen in Boston. We know the troubles we've seen in Seattle. Houston's had up and downs, man, but Houston's that veteran team. They have that championship pedigree. They've been there before. They also got Carlos Correa back. That's like getting the band back together, you know? Like, I just feel like if it's basically an even slate for everybody going to the AL, I take the guys who have been there before. But man, Sean, like you said, if the Cubs match up, if they could somehow beat the Padres and they match up with the Brewers in the playoffs, there's going to be some amazing dramatics in the NL playoffs. That's going to be it's either going to be fun to watch or it's going to be the worst thing I've ever watched in my entire life.
Oh God,
because
it's going to be a nightmare.
I mean, that would be poetic justice for Milwaukee fans if the Brewers knocked the Cubs out of the playoffs. That would be that one would be tough. It'd be tough to come on here and defend that shit, Sean. It'd be really tough to defend that. What's up, Foster? What's up, lads?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the hell I'd say if that I'd go silent for a while. That's for sure. Hey, I hope you're doing well today, Foster. I got to check out you guys' show a little bit on Thursday. I didn't get a chance to finish it, but y'all keep doing what you do, man. You guys have a fantastic product over there. For people that don't know, go check out Bears Country Podcast. It is an awesome, awesome podcast. Those guys have a lot of fun over there.
Yeah, Laz says future is bright with Horton as our ace going forward. Trade for that catcher Rauchman from Baltimore. Yeah, I would be ecstatic if they did that, but I don't think Bradley Rauchman's going anywhere. I think the future is bright for the Baltimore as well, man. If you look at that roster from top to bottom, I know they're having a bad season, but if they had a couple good pitchers in the offseason, that Baltimore team could be scary. And I know Hendricks, they're all basically having poor down seasons, but that's to be expected. They're all very, very, very young players, but I don't think any of those guys are going anywhere, man. I think Baltimore likes what they got going there, and I think they're going to continue to build off of it. But yeah, I mean, even if you don't get Rauchman, Laz, the future for the Cubs is starting to look bright as well. I mean, Owen Casey has fit the bill in every way, shape, or form. This guy looks like he's going to be a good major league hitter. Matt Shaw's continued to progress every single month. He looks better at third base than basically anybody in the NL right now. He might be the best third baseman in the NL next year. He certainly can hit major league pitching. You talk about guys like PCA. I know he's had a huge slump here, but I think PCA is just young. He's still growing. His plate discipline will get better the longer he plays in the major leagues. The future is bright for the Cubs as well, Sean. We talked about guys like you guys have watched our show many times now when we took going to the farm system. Jackson Wiggins looks like he's going to be a really good player, a really good pitcher in the major leagues. He's dominated at basically every level he's pitched in. They still have a ton of hitting talent down there. Kevin Alcantara just came up. Moises Ballesteros, small baller. We've seen him up here. He had a clutch hit. I don't think the Cubs necessarily have to sign Kyle Tucker for them to be a good team going in the future. Now, would it help? Yeah, sure. But I think that the Cubs farm system is going to make up a big chunk of this major league roster in the next few years here.
And I'm very glad, Kyle, that you brought that up, because we're going to get into this head-to-head of San Diego and Chicago, because that series was very interesting. And it happened so long ago that people may forget what
was that Mo Baller's hit?
No. That the Cubs played. They played him twice in April. Early. They played.
Yeah, Sean, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, they played April 4th through the 6th, and then April 14th through the 16th. So no minor leaguers, but something happened in that series that were quite interesting. But there is something, and I've been tracking this on my phone, and nothing has happened as of yet, but Owen Casey is back in Chicago, okay? It looks like there could be a DL stint headed here for Kyle Tucker. Owen Casey, obviously Alcantara is already here. Owen Casey arrived at Wrigley this afternoon. That tells me there's probably 15-game DL stint that will probably be retroactive to the games that he's missed already. But these are your slash numbers. Can you make this? Can the Cubs make this work in a platoon, or do you think? I mean, they're going to have somebody in there. Is it going to be Justin Turner? Is Craig Counsell going to overlook what Casey and Alcantara have done? Because you can split these guys up. There you see Casey versus right-handers. You see Alcantara versus left-handers. From our understanding, Alcantara was brought up here to face left-handed pitching. So if you platoon them in left field, or in right field, excuse me, do you think this is something that works 21 games down the stretch, and something, Kyle, that you definitely want to see? Because I want to be on this train right here.
Yeah, real quick. What's up, Patty? Thanks for joining the show. We appreciate you. Yeah, I mean,
hey, Patty.
What's funny is I thought that Kyle Tucker would be on an injury stint as well, but then I heard on 670 yesterday that Craig Counsell is saying he's going to play in this last game versus Washington. That's what I was told. Like, that's what Craig Counsell's under, the assumption that he's going to play against Washington. So, but I mean, either way, Sean, Kyle Tucker doesn't have to be hurt to get young, good talent on your roster and find a spot for them, find a way to get them into the game. We saw what Owen Casey, sometimes these guys come out of the gate fast and then they start to slow down a little bit. If you can catch something like that with Alcantara or bringing Casey back up here, and you can catch like that lightning in a bottle going into the playoffs, why wouldn't you? Like I said, you guys, at the end of the season where you're facing elimination, if you lose a series, you need to do whatever you can to win the game. It means getting creative, doing things you haven't done in the past, especially if your lineup continues to look like they have since the All-Star break. You need to inject as much of an energy and a spark as you possibly can. And I don't know about you, but it seems to me like Owen Casey kind of provided that spark at some point. Ever since they brought him up and he was playing regularly, that's when they pretty much got to that point, Sean, where you're talking about that 13-7 record that you're talking about. That's basically when Owen Casey came up, is when that started. Because before he got here, the Cubs looked absolutely abysmal. I mean, it was like watching paint dry. It was the same lineup every day, the same results every day. And they were making every single pitcher they faced look like Cy Young. All of a sudden, Owen Casey gets up here. They win a couple games against the Brewers, a couple games that Kyle Tucker was out and Owen Casey was playing, and they look like a completely different team. Now, do they look like the team they did in the beginning of the season? No, but I think Owen Casey clearly provided something for this team. And at the end of the day, Sean, you said it numerous times in the show. Listen, if you're going to bring these guys up, Owen Casey, Kevin Alcantara, they're losing at bats in the minor leagues. There's only one way to get better at baseball. You got to play it. So
let them play.
Let them. Listen, Sean, we've talked about this 1,000 times. I think everybody in the chat, Bruce, could probably agree with us. Justin Turner is a cool guy. He's a nice guy. I like him. I think he's like kind of a player's coach kind of guy. But if you're going into the playoffs and your bench players, your platoon players are Justin Turner and Willie Castro, there's not a team in the NL that's going to fear you. Not one. If you put Owen Casey up there, who can occasionally hit a triple or home run and hit for power, teams don't really know how to pitch to him because they haven't seen much of him. That's a totally different conversation.
Hey, what's up, Patty? Thanks for jumping in today. Really appreciate you checking out the show this afternoon, hanging out. Chicago Sports Podcast is in the house, and yeah, absolutely. The Cubs will definitely make the wild card with 21 games left and a 10-game lead, or it's a 9-game lead. This would be. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say what this.
Yeah, don't even say it.
It
would be
rip my heart out. Stop on it.
It would be historic. It would be the biggest collapse in the history of sport. I mean, there's 20 games left. You have a 5-game lead over both the Mets and the Padres. You just put them away. You win 2 out of 3 for the next in every series for the rest of the season. You're in. You're in. I mean, you're in. Yeah,
Laz, I gotta ask Laz, as you say this with Hap, one more year on the deal. Are you happy with Ian Happ, Laz, or do you want Ian Happ gone from Chicago? Really quick on the season, he's hitting 239, slashing 239, 342, 415, 757 OPS, 20 home runs, 79 runs, 66 RBIs, and a 2.2 WAR. He also holds a 115 WCR plus. I know it was a long slump, but when you look at it in totality, could the Cubs live without Ian Happ, Kyle, Laz? What do you guys think?
I mean, Sean, I like the ceiling of a guy like Owen Casey or Kevin Alcantara on left field than I like the ceiling of it. We know who Ian Happ is, right? We know who he is. He's a guy who's going to hit the – first of all, since being drafted out of Cincinnati, I think it was, Ian Happ in college was one of the best hitting for average players in baseball, in college baseball at the collegiate level. He was one of the best. He gets here, he changes his swing completely. He clearly wants to hit a ton of home runs. That's the kind of you can tell he's always swinging up. He's always swinging up. He's always swinging for the fences. But if he's not hitting home runs, Ian Happ becomes a below average player, and he's never going to be a 30 home run hitter. That's not going to happen. I think he thinks it's going to happen, but it's clearly not going to happen. He's a 20, 25 home run kind of guy. Sean, at this point, I would almost be happy to see them replace Ian Happ. Pardon my pun, but when he gets into these stretches, and Sean, we talked about this before a couple of days ago, even when he hits home runs, it doesn't ever feel like it's in any crucial situations. It's like you're down by 8 runs in the 8th inning, and Ian Happ will hit a solo home run. Like, oh, thanks, Ian. Way to show up. Me personally, guys, I like Ian Happ as a person. I like him as a Cub. I just, as a baseball player and contributing to wins for this team, I would have no problem with them replacing Ian Happ tomorrow.
Yeah. Last says, I would trade Hap given the outfield talent coming up. Hap has too many slumps. Yeah, and that's very true. And he goes through these big dips. And as we look at this, and I really wanted to, I do really want to say this for this meaning, even though we're talking about Alcantara and Owen Casey coming up, I still, even though it was the worst slump of his career, for the Cubs to advance in the playoffs, I don't think they have much of a chance if you don't have prime Kyle Tucker. He is the straw that stirs the drink. You look at his slump, you look at the Cubs slump, you're hoping that PCA will come out of it. And mind you, maybe Craig Counsell made the right call, benched him for 3 days, comes back yesterday, hits 2 for 3. I thought his comments after the ball game.
2 sack
What's
flies,
that?
too. 2 sack flies, too. I mean, I know those don't go on those aren't counted as hits, but that's an important play at bat for him. And Sean, he's looked better. He's looked better in the last couple of weeks. He's looked better.
Yeah, and the best thing about PCA is if he comes out of the slump, and Tucker before he got hurt was looking like he was starting to come out of it. Do we agree on that?
Yeah,
he was 100%. Starting to come out. If PCA and Tucker come out of this and they start hitting the way that they were at the beginning of the sky could be the limit for the Cubs. It could be completely different than what we thought originally a couple of weeks ago. Because these two guys changed the dynamic, and Kyle Tucker alone, again, I can't stress it enough. If Kyle Tucker sucks, I think the Cubs get swept by whoever they play.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's almost especially right now, the fact that Matthew Boyd's just not the same guy that he was in the first half of the season. Like you said, Sean, since the All-Star break, he's got ERA over 4. Shota Imanaga, I've said this numerous times, guys. I said this before the season started. I love Shota Imanaga. I think he's a very good pitcher. He's consistent, but he would always be at best a number 2 to me. He just gives up too many home runs. He's a fly ball pitcher, and sometimes at Wrigley Field that could be very dangerous. Mm-hmm. If the Cubs are going to win a playoff series with the way that Imanaga and Boyd have been pitching, giving up 2, 3, 4 runs, you need Kyle Tucker and PCA to hit it. You got to hit home runs, guys. It's the day and age in baseball right now where you need to hit home runs. And Kyle Tucker, Suzuki, and PCA are those most consistent guys at doing that. They need to hit for power in a playoff series against, especially a team like the Padres. Because, Sean, even if Cade Horton's on and he's amazing, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Padres could squeak out 2 runs against them. The Cubs are going to have to hit. They're going to have to hit. The only way the Cubs win a World Series this season, guys, is by scoring runs. Because I don't know if anybody's watching or not, but even guys like Caleb Thielbar, who was the pillar of consistency all season, are starting to have a couple bumps in the road here and there. The Cubs are not going to win a lot of playoff games 1-0. That's not going to happen. Yeah. Not with this pitching staff. You're going to have to win 7-4, 7-5, 8-6. Yeah. So yeah, if the Cubs are going to win, even have a chance at winning World Series this year, which I think is pretty much at this point outlandish, but if they were going to have a chance at winning World Series this year, Kyle Tucker would have to be Kyle Tucker that he was in Houston.
Yeah, and as we get into this playoff talk, because I didn't take a look forward at San Diego's schedule. I don't know who they play. But if you go back to April 4th, April 5th, April 6th, the Cubs should have swept that series. If people do remember, the Padres defeated the Cubs. They came back in the 8th inning from a 4-run deficit. The bullpen imploded a little bit in that game. The Cubs handed the Padres their first home loss and their first loss of the season, although it was early in the year. They were 7-0 when they came into Wrigley. Cubs beat them. Then they went to San Diego, handed them their first loss at Petco Park. But the bullpen struggled in a few games. There was a 10-4 loss, and I believe that was a Cade, or it was either Cade, or that was a Cade Horton. It was a Matthew Boyd start.
Sean, was the San Diego, was that the game where Ryan Presley imploded? Was that San Diego?
No, that was Houston. That was Houston. But that bullpen game, gosh darn it, I had this up and I forgot to write down who imploded. It was an entire bullpen collapse. Presley was part of that bullpen collapse in that game. I believe Porter Hodge. Hold on one second. That was, and this is kind of where I'm going. You are going to lock up this home field advantage for the Chicago Cubs. And the Cubs were able to take 2 out of 3. They did lose 2 in San Diego, but if you take 2 in Chicago, it's almost like saying the series is over. And if you go down 1-0 at home, you throw the book at them in game 2, because that series could be over if you don't win that game. And you really want to win that game with Cade Horton on the mound. It was it was actually Ben Brown the game. He gave up 5 earned runs in that 8-7. Yes, in that 8-7 game. The Cubs were up 7-3. 4th, 5th, 8th, and 9th. They gave up the runs, and those pitchers that blew it in the 9th were Ryan Presley and one Porter Hodge. And this is this is one of the things. The series is tied 3-3. Both teams winning their home series. These are 2 things that scare me. The Padres boast the best bullpen in baseball at a 3.11 earned run average, 43 saves, a 1.16 whip, 539 strikeouts to 187 walks. Starters boast the 4th best earned run average in baseball at 3.67. So when you talk about elite of elite and going into a playoff series, how do you feel about that, Kyle, and the Cubs being able to hit this team? Because the Cubs did score runs against this team earlier in the year. On a few occasions, on only they won 7-1, they lost 8-7, and then the other games were all pitchers duels, 3-1, 2-1, 4-2. Honestly, probably more what you're going to see in the playoffs. Correct?
Yeah, and Sean, the Padres have had the recent struggles as well. I mean, it's not like the Padres are like that team of destiny that's been on fire for the last 3. They've had a lot of ups and downs this season, and like you said, they lost yesterday. I mean, they know the position, and they have to win in order to beat out the Mets for that second wildcard spot. So, if that pressure isn't put on them is not leading to wins, then obviously they're inconsistent as well. At the end of the day, like I said, just with the way the Cubs, Sean, have you felt comfortable one time this season when the Cubs had a 1-run lead late in the game?
No.
Neither have I.
Well, let me ask you this. If the Cubs have a 1-run lead, and I've been saving this just for this, because you only have, give me your circle of trust in the bullpen. Who's your circle of trust?
It's going to be Daniel Palencia. No. No, I mean, listen, I know Thielbar has had a few bad games here and there, but guys, Caleb Thielbar has been absolutely amazing for the Chicago Cubs this season. Absolutely amazing. The Brad Keller, Breaking News, Bruce brings him up right there. Brad Keller, I know he's had some trouble here late, but for the most part, Brad Keller could have been their closer this season. He would have had a successful season. And then Daniel Palencia, Sean. I mean, those Thielbar, Keller, and Palencia are the guys I'd lean on heavily. Now, listen, Kittredge, you could bring that guy in if you have a 2-run lead.
Kind of in my circle of trust.
If he starts to get into trouble, then you were like, hey, Palencia, we need 4 outs today. But and then Sean, I'd like to see the good thing that the Cubs got going for him is they have 3 weeks to take a look at what Porter Hodge could offer, right? I mean, even when he was even those games where he was imploding a little bit, that we found out later that he had an injury, right? So you could probably blame those troubles on his injury. I don't know if that's the case, but we don't know. We're not in the Cubs locker room. We don't know how long he was dealing with that injury. We don't know if it was a nagging injury. That's something that was going on for a long time, and he's trying to pitch through it. But if Porter Hodge comes up and for the next 3 weeks he looks dominant like he did at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, he would be in that circle of trust. Sean, at this point, what are their options? I mean, you might not have an option. You might have to go with Porter Hodge whether you like him or not, because right now the Cubs bullpen, as of late, is just like scary. Pomeranz should never see the field in a playoff game. I mean, there's a
really. I was going to ask you about Pomeranz. You're out on Pomeranz in the postseason, even with the stellar season.
I do. Listen, a great season, but the worst has been the most recent. And the guy he's given up home runs. I don't want Drew Pomeranz touching. If you're up 8-4, but if you're talking about if it's 4-3 and it's the 8th inning, Pomeranz should not be anywhere near the.
Let me ask you this, Kyle. because I'm just trying to I'm actually, when I was doing like homework for this show, I was trying to figure out the same thing you are right now. Like, who do we trust? Do you trust Colin Ray coming in, pitching the 6th, 7th inning of a playoff game?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But
So
here, I'll say this, Sean. However Colin Ray looks on his last outing of the season, whatever he looks like, if he's like Colin Ray where he's allowing 1 run and nobody can hit him. Yes. If he's the Colin Ray that's allowing 6, 7 runs, he goes through those stints. Like we've talked about, guys, he's got a career ERA over 4. He's inconsistent. That's what Colin Ray is. If he was consistently good when he's good, he's great. If he was consistently good, he'd be one of the best pitchers in baseball. It's the stints where he's allowing 6, 7, 8 runs. Those are the stints that make ultimately give Colin Ray that 4 ERA average. If he looks good in his last start of the season, or even his last appearance, even if it's not a start, and they bring him out of the bullpen, I trust Colin Ray. I think the Cubs have gotten more out of Colin Ray than they ever expected to get out of him.
I agree 100%.
I mean, Colin Ray did his job, guys. I know, and Colin Ray, I know he's been inconsistent. I know a lot of Cubs fans get frustrated with him, but this has been one of the best stints of his career in Chicago here.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Colin Ray filling in for Justin Steele, the Cubs would be in really, really, really big trouble. He did his job. He kept this team in a playoff race. He ate up innings for them. He had a lot of good outings. He had good stretches where he would win 2, 3, 4 games in a row. Looked really dominant. Looked good. I have nothing. I would like Colin Ray to be on this team next year. I think he's a good in case of emergency pitcher. I think he's a very good in case of emergency pitcher.
Yeah, ray of sunshine, as we've had on this show. And Foster says, no doubt about it for Colin. And Colin has been a decent surprise, even with that earned run average. Sometimes the earned run average doesn't tell the whole story. And in Colin,
it can be deceiving.
It doesn't tell his story. Someone put a halo on him and then the savior patch, because he's been an angel and a savior for the Chicago Cubs after losing, and especially when the Cubs don't want to go out. I know CSP asked a little bit about if there's any prospects coming up, and we're going to get into that just a little bit, but Jackson Wiggins may by next May. But outside of that, I'm not really seeing much that impact this rotation. If Jackson Wiggins comes up next year and can do, hell, we'll go to the farm right now. We'll integrate the whole show. If Jackson Wiggins can come up by May, and by the way, he was promoted last week.
Yeah, last week, AAA.
This week.
Well,
AAA.
There's a guy like Riley Martin. I believe that's his name. Riley Martin looks dominant. Is Bernard Birdsall still down there, right? He's one of the guys.
Yeah, he got hurt again though.
Oh,
he's done for the year. He
can't stay out. Yeah, he's our new what's his name? Davis. What was his name?
Yeah.
He's
Davis.
The guy they keep telling us is going to be amazing, and it's like, yeah, but he doesn't play sports because he's hurt constantly. But Chuck, I don't think they necessarily have to go after like a Dylan Cease in the offseason. I think Justin Steele, or it would actually probably be Kate Horton as your ace, Justin Steele is your number 2, Shota Imanaga is your number 3, Matthew Boyd's here one more year as your number 4, and then James Dine is your 5. I think that's a pretty damn good rotation in Major League Baseball, guys. And then, like I said, Sean, next year you'd have guys like Javier Assad and Colin Ray as your long inning relievers instead of guys like
looks Ben a lot Brown. Better. It looks a lot better.
Yeah, and obviously you're going to deal with injuries, so you have to have more than that. You got to go get somebody, but I don't think it has to be like a Dylan Cease. I think you can get a guy who's kind of in the kind of like a guy like Matthew Boyd or Colin Ray, like they did this past offseason, that could fill in for one of these guys if they get hurt. Or like you said, Sean, maybe Jackson Wiggins starts to get his feet wet a little bit in the major leagues next year. I don't know. What I'm saying is, for the adversity the Cubs have faced this season, we've talked about this. Craig Counsell's in-game management or lineup management has frustrated me a ton this year. There's just a lot of things he's done where I'm like, this just isn't the Craig Counsell I watched in Milwaukee. Who is this guy? What is he doing? What the hell is he doing? But in terms of saving this pitching staff, guys, piecing this thing together with all the injuries they've sustained all season and bringing guys up and sending guys down and bringing guys up and sending guys down. Do we start Colin Ray here? Do we start? I think Craig Counsell's done an admirable job. I think he's done a pretty damn good job. I mean, I can't remember the last time the Cubs pitching rotation or bullpen has dealt with this many injuries. I think every single pitcher on the Cubs has missed time this season, except for Matthew Boyd.
We're down on the bullpen, and I'm just going through my notes here. This bullpen hasn't been that the Cubs bullpen since the deadline ranks third in strikeout percentage, third in walk percentage, 26.9% K rate to 7.2% walk rate. They're second and fifth at 314, and they're 17th in earned run average. That's the thing that you're looking at, because you don't want your bullpen at a 4.18 earned run average. They do have some positives, but does it also feel like the Cubs have had some bad breaks? Like that blooper the other day that was hit 60 miles per hour off the bat, that just two guys converging on it and it just dropped right into. I feel like the Cubs have had so much bad luck like that this year. It's almost been ridiculous.
Yeah, the problem with that is, first of all, every team deals with bad luck, right? Every fan in the world is like, man, I feel like my team has more bad luck than every other team. Every fan thinks that way. But another thing, Sean, is that just seems to be kind of like the stigma of this team. Like the Cubs, I feel like they've always dealt with bad luck, and they're always going to deal with bad luck. Something that was interesting was said on 670 The Score the other day. They were talking about hitting in Wrigley Field. And they were basically talking about how, do you think the reason the Cubs have never been like this long time, sustained success, dominant team in baseball is because when the wind's blowing in Wrigley, it's just impossible to be a consistent power team lineup. It's almost impossible. And every other team is playing in sunny California, San Diego, or these domes in Milwaukee. Meanwhile, the Cubs are playing in May when it's 21 degrees outside, or they're playing in the wind when the wind's blowing in off the lake. I mean, I think there's some validity to that, Sean, because we've seen this Cubs team put really, really good rosters on the field. Like, you remember Ramos Ramirez, Derek Lee. I mean, that lineup was amazing, and they could just never get the job done. I don't know what it is. People say it's the curse, it's the black cat, it's the Billy Goat curse, all that stuff. I don't believe in any of that shit, but I do think that there's something about Wrigley Field in particular that just makes it a very tough ballpark to play in. Now, I think their bullpen has done a good job. And once again, Sean, you talk about the ERA for the bullpen. Imagine if Ryan Brazier had never pitched a pitch since the All-Star break. Where would that bullpen be then? Where would that ERA be then?
A little bit better.
I would be one of the best ERAs of any bullpen in baseball. Like I said, Craig Counsell, it's like he knew Ryan Brazier. He probably knew at some point Ryan Brazier was going to fall off. So he brought him in. He's like, I'll just play him till he's cold. Then the second he got cold, he sent him down. We lost Eli Morgan. You and I both liked that move to begin the season, on the offseason, that he was one of the best pitchers I think they added this offseason. I did not like the Ryan Presley move. I made that quite clear when they made it. But Eli Morgan looked like he was going to be a very important piece for this bullpen all season. All of a sudden, he's out. He had a sub-2 ERA in Cleveland. I think when it comes to the bullpen, you can't blame any of this stuff on Craig Counsell. Maybe a little bit of blame goes to Jed Hoyer, but I don't think any blame can be put on Craig Counsell. As a matter of fact, Sean, you just talked about how this is basically a top 3 bullpen since the All-Star break. I think Craig Counsell should be given all the credit in the world for that.
Yeah, he has done some good things, but as I believe John brought up earlier, some of the kooky stuff is that lineup. I mean, what did he put behind Cade Orton? This guy pitches 5 shutout, hitless innings, and you have a god-awful lineup, and he seems to be doing that. And he's like, well, we need to rest. We need to rest these guys. We need to rest these. No, you need to win ball games. Like, this is a grind. I don't see anybody else in baseball doing this right now, and it is quite frustrating. I text you before this game started. I said, loser lineup leads to losses. Before they even threw a pitch, I was like, Jesus Christ, the Cubs are not hitting today. and they came back and won the game, but still, no, they didn't. They lost the game. They lost that game.
Yeah, they lost. And you know what, Sean, I wish I could just come on this podcast. Obviously, I think at this point we consider ourselves kind of like sports analysts, fans, but obviously very passionate. I can't explain to you what Craig Counsell's doing with the lineup on every third game of every series. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I know that in his head, There's a reason, there's rhyme and a reason to what he's doing. I know that for a fact. Craig Counsell is doing what he's doing because he believes in some way, shape, or form it's beneficial to this team. I can't explain to you guys what that is. I have no idea because I mean, now, Sean, with the way it looks now, we have a 5-game lead in the wild card, and we're not going to catch the Brewers. I understand you're going to start giving guys days off because now you're basically prepping for that wild card series. That's what you're doing now. You don't care about the division anymore. You care about winning the wild. But
Kyle, I think he started prepping for that in August.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying though. But three weeks ago, a month ago, you couldn't use that as an excuse because they could have caught the Brewers. They could have caught them.
Yeah.
So you can't say, "Oh, Craig Counsell is resting these guys, getting ready for the wild card series." 2 months ago, you weren't thinking about the wild card series. You were thinking about, can we win the division? Will the Padres catch us? Will the Mets catch us? You're trying to stay ahead of them. So now you can use that as an excuse. So he's got to give these guys like Kyle Tucker. Maybe the reason he's getting days off is because they know they're going to be in a wild card series at some point coming up here in the future. But 3 weeks ago, when Craig Counsell was doing the same shit, and the lineup consisted of Carson Kelly and Justin Turner and Bruhan, there's just no excuse. There's no reason. I mean, I would love to walk up to Craig Counsell and be like, "Hey, man, you took the 3 out of the first 4 against the Brewers. Why throw in the white towel? Step on their throat. Put Owen Casey back in there, especially after the comments that the Brewers manager made about Owen Casey and how good he looked, and he obviously is going to be a very good player in baseball. Like, it seems like he had the Brewers' attention, and then you're like, you know what, Shaw, Casey, you guys are young, you're upcoming, you're on fire. You guys just take it easy today. We're going to put Justin Turner and Bruhan out there, and we'll see how this plays out. Like, well, I know how it's going to play out, Craig. You're going to lose. That's how it's going to play out.
You want to know what's funny about that, Kyle? That's the day the Cubs lost the division.
That was it.
Sorry.
John,
that was the day.
I agree 100%. Well, I remember I said before that series, I know this sounds absurd because it's baseball and it's really tough to do, but you have to take 4 out of 5. You have to. You got yourself to the position where you were 9 games back now because the way you guys came out of the gate, after the All-Star break, and the way the Brewers came out of the gate, you got to win 4 out of 5. And then Sean, after the second day, I'm like, oh my God. Like after the first 4 games of the series, I'm like, I think they could win 4 out of 5. I think they could do this. And then we open our phones, and that's the lineup we get for the 5th game of the series against the Brewers. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Are you kidding me? You had it. You did it. They did something I never. I'm like, this pessimistic Cubs fan, like, they're not going to win 4 out of 5. It's not going to happen. And then I'm like, oh my God, they're going to win 4 out of 5. Oh my God. And then I opened my phone, looked at the lineup, and I'm like, oh, there's the Cubs. There we go. That's the Cubs. That's what I expect. Yeah.
And you want to know what's funny about that, Kyle? Is if you follow the track after that series, the Cubs had a chance to be within 2 games based on where the Brewers lost and they won. And instead you were 6.5 back and you haven't been able to get closer. Or was it 7.5 after that game? It was either you were either going to be 4.5 or 6.5 out. And the Cubs and Counsell thought it was 6.5 was justifiable. And that's really what made me sad. Like, man, we just gave away the division. But then I see this consistently happening. He's doing it. And I expected the Cubs win today. I expect to see another crap lineup versus Washington tomorrow afternoon, which I'm not even going to watch because football's back, baby. I'll have it on my phone. But the big TVs will be dedicated to some NFL football on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pay close attention to the game. I don't know if I'm going to watch them from first inning to ninth inning, but yeah, I mean, Sean, now I think he has some plan in his head. I don't know. We don't know what it is, but now I think Craig Counsell's doing this on purpose. I think he's. I mean, why else would you do it? I mean, you could say, "Oh, we're going to give these guys rest. We got to give these guys rest." Well, Craig Counsell, you have to use the same logic with everybody. Like, Cade Horton's pitching more than he's ever pitched in his entire life. Matthew Boyd's pitching more than he's ever pitched in his entire life. Daniel Palencia is pitching more than he's ever pitched in his entire life. Kale Thielbar's pitching more than he's ever pitched. But every hitter in the lineup needs more time off than he's ever had in his entire career. That doesn't make any sense to me. There's no argument. And to be honest with you, Sean, even if they wanted to give guys, I like Justin Turner a lot, and it makes me feel so bad to say that. Why is he still on the Cubs? If you really consider yourself to be a championship caliber team who's competing to win a World Series, Justin Turner shouldn't be on this roster. There's no way Justin Turner should be carried into the playoffs. At what point in the playoffs are you like, you know what? We need a big clutch hit. Hey, call in the big guns, Justin Turner. Like, if that happens at any point in the playoffs, I will be absolutely furious. Yeah, breaking news, Bruce. Yeah. I love it. Thanks. thanks for reminding me of that one too. If Carlos Santana touches the field in the playoffs, you are once again throwing in the white towel, except for when losing, you're out. You cannot, these two guys cannot be on the field, Sean. They can't.
Yeah, and you want to know what's funny is that they're going to be on this roster, and that they'll probably win, or they'll probably get playing time, and it's distressing to know. And I don't know if Cub fans follow Craig Counsell. Craig Counsell only has one playoff series win, and I looked it up. I believe it was 2018. He got to the NLCS and he lost. So he's got one division series win with the Milwaukee Brewers for those 5 division titles that he won. So that kind of brings it into question too, just a little bit to me. Like, hey, can this guy manage correctly in the playoffs? He did win one 5-game series in his career. So is he better than the manager that will be on Mike Schlitt, who will be former Cardinals manager, as a matter of fact, will be on the other sideline or dugout, excuse me. I'm thinking football again.
Sean, who do you want to see?
Honestly, I was looking at this, and by month, the Mets were 12-15 in June, 11-17 in August. They're off to a 3-1 start in September.
These pitchers, these guys, I don't know where the Mets are getting these guys, but have you been watching these guys, dude?
The Padres have only had one losing month, and that was back in June. They were 13-15. It seems like all the good teams fell off in June because the Cubs weren't good in June, the Mets weren't good in June, the Padres weren't good in June. But the Padres are off to an 0-4 start in September. So it kind of goes to me like, man, we got 3 games coming up with the Mets. Not this week, but the following week. We got 3 with the Mets here in Chicago. The Mets took it to us when we played them in New York. They took 2 out of 3. And the 2 games they won pretty handily. The game we won, I believe it was 8-7 or 6-5. It was a 1-run ball game. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I know the Mets beat us around the block. So it's like, do the Cubs maybe match up better against San Diego? I would say the team with less left-handed bats is who I'd like to face. And I know that may not make sense because Shota and Boyd are left-handers, but Cade Orton is a right-hander. So, you get against
I see what you're saying. Like,
left-handers, dude.
At least if you take game 1, the odds are now in your favor. I understand, but I want to play. What's up, Phil? How you doing, brother? Bears fan for life. Joining the show here. Sean, I want to play the team that's not winning, entering the play. Baseball to me, it doesn't matter how good you've been all season. It doesn't matter the talent on your roster. Whatever team is just absolutely on fire going into the playoffs is usually the team that makes a lot of noise. So if the Padres continue to lose the way they've been losing, going into say they go this month and they're 8-20 or whatever it is, I'd much rather play the Padres because the Mets, these pitchers, the couple of pitchers the Mets have brought up here lately, these guys look like the real deal to me. They're have you seen that with McLean? What's his name? What's the young kid's name? Guy with the goatee on the Mets.
You got me.
Dude, this guy, I don't know what pitch he throws. I don't know what the hell that's called. I don't know what it is. I've never seen that pitch before, but that thing is unhittable. It's unhittable. And if you got to run into a guy like that in the first game of the playoffs, that's with the way the Cubs have been hitting, that'd be some scary shit, Sean.
Now let me ask you this. If the Mets continue to be hot, we're going to wind up playing them. And that kind of sucks. Because the Padres are slipping and the Mets are not. The Mets are getting hot at the right time.
Everybody knows where I stand. Pitching wins championships. So whoever pitching is playing better, is hotter, I guess you'd say, more hot, going into the playoffs, that's the team I do not want to play. And I have a strong feeling, Sean, it's going to be the Mets because that pitching rotation can be very, very good if they're all firing at the right time. And I have a feeling that's the team the Cubs are going to run into. And that's going to be one hell of a challenge, guys. That's
Well,
going
the
to be
young
one I
kid
have
that
to
they
challenge.
brought up is also on
Fung or
Tom
yeah,
Johan
yeah,
Tom.
Tom. Yeah, well, he looks
Yes.
good too, but the other kid,
Yeah.
the other guy that this came up this year, I think. I mean, he's been there for a while now, but I don't know, the other starter for them. That I don't know what the hell pitch that is, man, but it's I was watching it on Instagram last night, a bunch of highlights of it, and it's some scary, scary shit. If those two guys are pitching lights out and you run into the Mets in a playoff series, you're in trouble, man. And not to mention the pitching that they already had there. But yeah, I like what Erica
Yeah.
says here. She says, "Can the damn Brewers lose?" Yeah, I've never seen anything like this, Erica. It's insane. It's like literally
Yes.
crazy. It's ridiculous. This team, and it's every night they found a new way to win. It's like every night there, you go watch the highlights, and you're like, "Oh, a fan fell onto the field, and there was a delay, and then the Brewers were down by 9, and when they restarted the game, they scored 20 runs." Like it's like they can do no wrong, man.
Well, and unfortunately, the Brewers have run into the Pittsburgh Pirates for the next couple of days. So it's, I mean, I guess it's time to give up on the division. 5 games out. 5 games out. What is it? What are the Cubs? They're 5.5 out with 21 to play.
Yeah, but
That would have to be an epic collapse by the Brewers.
the Pirates just swept. It was the Dodgers or the Padres. They just swept one of those two teams in the last week here.
I
I think
believe
they swept the Dodgers.
it was the Dodgers. They just swept the
Yeah.
Dodgers, but they're playing the Brewers, and of course, they've
Yeah,
come back to
of
who they
course.
are.
The soul of Babe Ruth will enter Andrew Vaughn's body right when the series starts. Yeah, like it's
Yes.
just I don't know.
Speaking of Andrew,
They got some weird black magic going on there in Milwaukee. I don't know. I've never seen anything like this. This is one of the best runs I've ever seen in the history of baseball.
Speaking of Andrew Vaughn has lost his mojo.
Good.
And where is this? I just wrote this down. Here it is. Andrew Vaughn's slash line over his last 11 games: 162, 238, 162. So his OPS over the last 11 games is 400. It looks like the guy who was on the White Sox has returned to Milwaukee. Hopefully, it stays that way.
Yeah, and I think we kind of expected that, right? Like a change of
Yeah.
scenery, you got those 3 weeks where you look great, everything's awesome, and then you start to realize that you are who you are, and you're not that good at baseball, and everything kind of falls back into place. But yeah, to Erica's point, I've been,
Well,
as Cubs fans, we've been crushed. Our souls have been crushed many a time. But to be the second best team in baseball at one point, and the Brewers still have a 5-game lead on you
let me
that's
ask you this
insane.
though, because I've said this and I mean this. I can't stress it enough to the Cub fans out there. Are you really scared of the Brewers? Because the Brewers are red hot coming into Wrigley Field, and we kicked their ass. And if you don't throw in the towel in that last game, maybe you win 4 out of 5. They won the season series. They only lost one series in the series to them all season. Like, Jacob Nisarowski, all of a sudden, just like I said, hold on, Cal, just like I said pre-All-Star break, I was like, everyone put this guy in the All-Star. His next 5 starts, he can suck. What is he now? A 450 earned run average. How good is Nisarowski been? The next Paul Skeens? Yeah, right here, pal. He's come down to earth and is not the guy that he was in his first few starts.
Obviously he's still young, so nobody knows what the ceiling for Mazeroski is. But yeah, Sean, I mean, like I said earlier, and I'm not going to change my opinion just because it's the Brewers. I don't want to play anybody who's really hot going to the playoffs. So if the Brewers win 18 of their next 20, I don't want to play the Brewers going to the playoffs. Like that sucks. I mean, you're going to have to. You don't have an option, but it's definitely, Sean, you talked about earlier how you feel like sometimes everything kind of goes wrong for the Cubs. It's just bad luck. Well, everything's going right for the Brewers, and I don't want to run into that. Yeah. And I know we did take 3 out of 5 from that series, but we lost the series before that, and that's when we needed that one as well. Remember that 3-game series we had with them against them in Milwaukee. We needed that series as well, and the Brewers went out there and wiped the floor with the Cubs. So am I afraid of the Brewers? No. I think the Brewers lineup is average. I think their rotation's really good. Their lineup is average. But if the Brewers are just that team that has that juju, they've got that, whatever you want to call it, the momentum, whatever, that luck, everything's just going well for them going into the playoffs. If they have another 14-game win streak, no, I certainly do not want to play the Brewers. Anyway, I'd rather have somebody else play them, and then we play that team. But I don't know, man. They could get in the playoffs and absolutely collapse. Nobody knows. That's the great thing about sports, right? Like the Brewers could be the best team. Remember the year, Sean? The Braves were just destroyed everybody. The year that Acuna was the MVP, and Matt Olson was the runner-up, and they get in the playoffs and get their asses whooped. Sports. It's weird, strange. It would be,
So
Sean, it would be poetic for the Cubs to knock the Brewers out of the playoffs. That would be the best. That would be my World Series.
that's what I want.
That's my World Series, because the Cubs ain't winning the World Series. That's my World Series.
I want the Brewers. I want the Brewers in the playoffs. I can't stress it enough. I've said it all year. I think we're a better team than them. They won the season series. They came into Wrigley. The Cubs made a statement. You had your manager throw the white towel in that last game, and if he doesn't, you probably take 4 out of 5. I can't say this enough. They are a good regular season team. I don't think they're built for the playoffs, and I think if the Cubs play the Brewers, mark my words, the Cubs will win that series. It's not me being a biased Cub fan. I think the Cubs are a better built team for the playoffs than the Brewers are, especially when it comes to slug. And just remember, go look at their slug and how low it is. I believe it's like 730. Only one team in the history of baseball has won with a slug that low, and that was the 23 Diamondbacks. So they would be another anomaly if they were to win the World Series. I want the Brewers. God, I want the Brewers so bad. And hey, I apologize to everybody. They sweep the Cubs 4-0. I'll wear egg on my face. But I want the Brewers. I want that. I want that.
John says a hot Cubs team can beat anyone. I agree. I mean, that's baseball, John. Anybody can win at any given moment. I will say, though, if the Cubs beat the Brewers, they would run into the Phillies, and the Phillies are the team that they didn't beat even when they were absolutely on fire. When the Cubs were playing their best all season, when they were in their prime of this season, PCA's hitting bombs, Suzuki's hitting bombs, Tucker's consistent, they lost to the Phillies. So to me personally, guys, it's clear and obvious that the Phillies are the best team in the NL. And if anybody has to run into the Phillies in the playoffs, including the Cubs, that's a tall task and an uphill battle. And then, Sean, have you ever seen this? Mike?
No, I haven't.
Zala?
No, welcome to the show, buddy. Hold on here. Let me get you a little round of applause.
Mike is not a fan of Owen Casey. He says, thank God Carrot Top is still in the minors. Don't know why people are so high on him. Strikeout king. We have enough of them the way it is. Yeah, I mean, he looked good when he was up here, but yeah, in the minors, he has taken a lot of grief for his strikeout numbers for sure. But you expect it to kind of meet in the middle. Like when he came up here, he was really hot. He was hitting clutch hits. In the minors, using strikeouts. I would expect to be somewhere in the middle. I don't think he's Babe Ruth. I also don't think he's like Javier Baez at his worst. I think Owen Casey, and he's very young. He's got a lot of room.
Well, boys, let's see if we can hear this, and we'll get an update because Owen Casey is currently with the Chicago Cubs as we speak. Kyle Tucker, as I just watched the video, did run in the outfield. Castro will start in right. He will rest today, and hopefully we can all hear this because
I think available. Yes, is possible in the lineup. Probably not.
So there you go. He says yes, he's available, maybe in a pitch hit role. He's obviously not starting today. Owen Casey is with the club. He is at Wrigley Field as we speak. I believe that reading from Jesse Rogers right here, that if Kyle Tucker does not feel well tomorrow, an IL stint could be on the horizon, which would then bring back what we talked about a little bit earlier. And I'm sorry, Mike, that I got to do this for you. But
that's insane, though.
Like
that's crazy. So they're saying, yeah, he's probably available to play today. He just can't start in the lineup. But if he can't play today or tomorrow, then he's going on the IL. Like if you think there's a chance that this guy would have to go to the IL because of some lingering injury, then why would you ever say that he's possibly available today? Like if he's that close to an IL stint because he's not feeling better, he should not be available today. In any way, shape, or form should Kyle Tucker be available today. That's ridiculous.
Let me see if I can get this on. That's Kyle Tucker today. So he's running in the outfield. I mean, this is 2 hours ago.
Yeah, and then, like I said, I was listening to 670 the other day. He said at some point he's going to play against Washington. He said that. He said he's going to play against Washington. Sean, here's a question for you. Here's a question for you from Erica. Was a little worded a little bit strangely here, but she says, was Cade pulled so early the other night to save his arm for the playoffs? Because there would be no other logical reason why we would need
Yes.
be pulled in that. He would need to be pulled in that situation.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And I obviously would have liked to see him try and make it through, but at 75 pitches, he wasn't going to throw a complete game no hitter. That's number one. And B, as he stated after the ball game, whatever it takes to keep me ready for the playoffs, I believe in what Craig Counsell is doing. He said it himself. I'm not going to argue with it. People have to remember, he is at I think 250 innings between college, minors, and majors. I mean, this is what he's doing is unprecedented because I'll be honest, if Justin Steele doesn't get hurt, I don't even think we see Cade Horton this year. If Shota doesn't go on the IL with Justin Steele hurt, I don't think we see Cade Horton this year.
And as bad,
or maybe we do later.
As bad as some moments have been for Cubs fans this season and some of the pessimism we've heard, I mean, guys, you're talking about one of the best stories in baseball right now. Not only is this kid, he only pitched for a month in college before he got drafted to the major leagues. He had a massive injury in the minor leagues, so he didn't pitch much last year. And then he comes up here, and now he's the favorite to win Rookie of the Year. And on top of that, he's been in the major leagues for 2 months, and this guy's might be pitching the first game in a wild card series. Like, this is the best case scenario. I can tell you this. I don't know what anybody else thinks about Cade. Obviously, I love him, but Cade Horton's got to be on cloud 9. I mean, this guy's been pitching in baseball for 2 months, and he might be the ace in a playoff series. I mean,
and I'll be perfectly honest, man.
That's every kid's dream. He's living every kid's dream.
His poise, his command out there, he doesn't look like a rookie, man. He is in control when he is on that bump.
He's a serious dude.
If I can compare him to one player that I hope we see the same out of here in Chicago, that's Caleb Williams on Monday night. You know, this guy started shaky, and you remember in that Mets series, Cade Horton started against the Mets. I believe the Mets was his debut. It was either his debut or his second start. He gave up 4 runs against the Mets in that debut in 4 innings. I think it was 5 innings, something like that. It wasn't a long start for him. And it was in New York, obviously on the road, take the pressure off, being in front of the home crowd, whatever. But the poise that he showed and the way he's grown in such a short period of time, I just want to say to our Bears fans out there, just remember, if it doesn't go swimmingly versus Minnesota, that just put Cade Horton in your brain and say, man, it looked a little shaky when he first started, but then all of a sudden the puzzle pieces started coming together.
Yeah, and PCA and every other young 21-year-old kid who's going to play against a bunch of grown men that he's got to have time to groom. But Sean, if Cade Horton, like you said, he only pitched a couple months in college, right? He was a third baseman or shortstop, and they made him a pitcher because they had so many injuries. And then he pitched in the College World Series. He was one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball. I still don't think we've seen Cade Horton's ceiling. He's only
I don't either. And you want to know the other thing that people, I mean, obviously we watch it, we dissect things. Dude, he's added in the last month 2 miles per hour on his fastball. He came up here actually more, but he was throwing 94 to 96, and now he's hitting the gun at 98. And I believe he'll get to 100.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, dude, this, like Sean, you said, he's been practicing his pitching for a year and a half. Most of these guys who are pitching in baseball, maybe 2 years, I guess I should say. Most guys been pitching baseball have been pitching their entire lives. I mean, since these kids are 8, 9, 10 years old, they're on the mound pitching. Cade Horton just started pitching. He was a position player. If he continues to get better, you might see that velocity hit 100, 101. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be one of those guys like Paul consistently in the 9th inning still pitching 100 miles an hour. But even if he can get his fastball a few pitches here and there over that 100 mark, with his location, Cade Horton's going to be one of the most dangerous pitchers in baseball for the next 10 years. And
they're actually interviewing right now.
I know.
Pregame.
Mike here says pump the brakes. Like, Mike, I got nothing to pump the brakes. All I can do is be happy for the kid. I love watching him pitch. He's now one of my favorite players in Chicago. Every single time, like Sean says, watch him. When he goes out there, he means business. He doesn't give a shit about the fans. He doesn't give a shit about what's happening on offense. His job is to go out there and pitch, and he does his job, and he does it damn well. And I think there's a very good chance Cade Horton's going to be my favorite player on the Cubs for a long time, barring injury, obviously.
And we're taking you up the first pitch, which is about 10 minutes away. So we're gonna get into
real quick, Sean. Do you want to answer that Kyle Tucker question though?
Me personally, the only way, and I hate for the Ian Happ truthers out there for me to say this, the only way I want Kyle Tucker is if Ian Happ is gone. We need to open up an outfield spot for either Alcantara or Owen Casey immediately. I'm not opposed to signing Kyle Tucker, especially, and I don't know if you're still there, Kyle, especially if this slump and the way his second half of his season has lessened that contract, and you can get him for $350 to $375, maybe even $400. I'm all in.
Yeah.
I don't know where you are, Kyle.
Let me do this real quick. I'm going to go over my Kyle Tucker. This will be my final synopsis of Kyle Tucker for the season because we've been talking about this all season, right, Sean? This is my final take on Kyle Tucker. I think Kyle Tucker, when you looked at his statistics and his metrics in Houston, I think he looked like a superstar. I think people were like, this guy's similar to Juan Soto, he's similar to Ohtani, similar to Aaron Judge, just not with the power, but this guy's just one of the best hitters in baseball. Well, he did that in a very, very good lineup where he didn't have to be the guy because the lineup was full of nothing but guys, just studs all around. He gets to Chicago. He's got to be the stud. He's got to be the superstar. He's got to be the guy. As you go, we go. You're the captain, whatever. And all of a sudden, he just doesn't look like the same Kyle Tucker that he did in Houston. And listen, I'm not even going to pay any attention to the injury at all. So if anybody brings that up, you can believe that all you want. But there's too many weird things surrounding it. Kyle Tucker gets here. He's asked to be the bell cow. He's asked to be the guy, right? Obviously, the pressure was probably a little too immense for him to be that guy here in Chicago. I think when Kyle Tucker left Houston, based off of his statistics and metrics, he thought he was a $600 million type player. I would hope that Kyle Tucker and his camp after the season in Chicago are starting to see that if he's not surrounded by studs, he's not a top 5 player in baseball, and there's no way, shape, or form he can ask for $600 million. If they bump that ticket price down, that salary down to $350, Kyle's willing to take $350 and the Cubs are willing to pay him. I think he's a consistent enough player and a good enough player to earn $350 million. And I think he's a star. I don't think he's a superstar. I think he's a star. And Sean, like you said, you guys, whether you like Kyle Tucker or not, go back and look at the Cubs struggles and look at Kyle Tucker's struggles. They
coincide.
Yeah, they're in unison. I mean, basically, if Kyle Tucker's not playing really well, the Cubs aren't playing really well. So do I want him here? Absolutely, 100%. If he's asking for anything over $350 million, no, I don't want him here. And I agree with Sean. If you're going to keep Kyle Tucker here and PCA and Tucker are going to take up center and right, you better get Ian Happ off this team because there's absolutely no reason why Kevin Alcantara or Casey should not be up here. I mean, listen, you guys, what's Ian Happ's average?
239 right now.
That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable.
Kind of the best thing he's done. 3, 4. I'm trying to add up last week. 4 and 2. 4 and 2 is the winner. John, not us.
Johnny boy, you won last week.
John
also says here, he says, I agree. For $350 million, sign his ass.
Yeah, I here again, and I said this earlier in the show for the people who were a little bit late. I don't think the Cubs make a deep or serious playoff run if Kyle Tucker is not Kyle Tucker.
And I agree.
I honestly believe that. I feel that. I just, like Kyle stated just a few minutes ago, when you watch the Cubs slump compared to where Tucker slumped, there's just it's not a coincidence. It's just not for me because as he started to come back, all of a sudden the Cubs are scoring 6, 7, 8 runs again. I don't know if anyone's noticed that. I know they scored 11 without him yesterday, but that Irvin pitcher sucks, dude. Some of us probably could have hit that guy for the love of Christ. But I'm just saying, before he was in the lineup, before he came out of the lineup, the Cubs were starting to score. He was starting to turn the ball over again. He's hit a couple home runs. It looks like it's coming back. And the best thing for the Chicago Cubs team is Tucker catching fire mid-September and rolling that through October. This
Sean,
offense will change a lot.
Right, you know what's funny is as of 2 weeks ago, everybody in the NL was like, "Man, I hope if we make it to the playoffs, we get to play the Cubs." If Kyle Tucker and PCA started to hit like they were in the beginning of the season, and Suzuki as well, nobody wants to play the Cubs. Nobody wants to play the Cubs. If Kyle Tucker, PCA, and Seiya Suzuki go into the playoffs all hitting 320 for the last 10 games before the playoffs start, nobody in baseball wants to play the Chicago Cubs. Nobody. And then you got to play Cade Horton, who was allowed 4 runs in his last 9 starts, with those 3 hitting over 300. The one that scares me the most, Sean, the one I am basically out on, is Seiya Suzuki. I mean, that guy looks like he just, I don't know, man.
I don't know what
I don't know. To have the numbers he had going into the All-Star break and to add 1 home run and 2 RBIs since that is insane. It's insane. I think baseball made the right move when they did not put him in the All-Star game. This is Suzuki. He doesn't belong in the All-Star game.
They might have made the right move, but it was, to me, still a hose job. He should have been in that ball game.
Yeah, I agree, Erica. Big if for the Cubs be hitting well going to the play. For PCA and say Suzuki to come back, that's a huge if. At least 2 of the 3 of them need to be hitting very well for the Cubs to win the World Series.
You really, the thing too, really quick, is what you're starting to see out of PCA. He's starting to shorten his swing. He's had a couple of bunts, and PCA needs to figure out that him bunting is just as lethal as anything else. You just need that guy on base to create chaos and put pressure on the pitcher and the defense. He needs to understand how important that is to this club.
Yeah, Sean, that's huge. Not many players offer, like, hey, Pete, when you're hitting home runs, great. Keep hitting them. When you get in these slumps, you're one of the only players in baseball, when you're in a slump like you are, you can still affect the game. That's what makes you PCA. That's why people are so scared of you. That's why people love you. That's why but baseball had the long interview in the All-Star game, and then the Fox Game of the Week, they interviewed PCA again. They want the world to see PCA because he's a special player. He's a unicorn. This guy doesn't have to hit for power to make it have an impact on every single game he plays in. PCA needs to figure that out. And Sean, he will. He's young. And he also needs to figure out plate discipline. He cannot look like Javier Baez, where he's swinging at stuff 2 feet above his head, bouncing 3 feet in front of the plate. And you saw it yesterday. He swung at that pitch that bounced 3 feet in front of the plate. And I'm like, oh, God, PC, what are you doing? And then the very next pitch was a tough pitch, and he held off of it. These are going to be the ups and downs of a 23-year-old kid. And I'm going to enjoy the ride, because I think PCA is going to be an amazing player when it's all said and done. I think he's going to be one of the best Cubs all time. But yeah, Seiya needs to be like in the 9 hole, bro.
Right now, I agree. And you know how much I love Seiya.
You need to switch him and Shaw. Switch
I don't
those
know
two.
what's happening with him, man. And you know what? Honestly, when you go into the playoffs, if Nico Horner isn't your leadoff man, his ass better be in that 5 hole. Because I don't care that Carson Kelly won us the game, and he did set history for the Cubs the other day. He was the first player after like the 7th inning to tie the game and then win the game with a walk-off or whatever. I don't care. Carson Kelly is who Carson Kelly is. I like Carson Kelly. I really do. He's a very fun interview. The guy is hilarious, but he needs to be bumped down in that in the lineup just a little bit, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and that's who Carson Kelly is. Like, the beginning of the season was fun. The Cubs got more good luck with a backup catcher, but that's Carson Kelly is who we've been watching for the last 6 weeks, guys. That's Carson Kelly.
And you want to know, the funny thing is I haven't heard a word, and I'm going to look this up before I say that.
Sean, you give me a round of applause here. We have a new listener in the chat here. His name's Chicago Dude 8888. I've never seen Seiya look so lost hitting sliders. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. We've been talking about.
Thanks for joining us, man.
I don't know what the hell.
I love that logo too, Chicago Dude. That's awesome. He's got the Cub.
I like the whole thing. The Chicago Dude 8888. You know, it's like that's the lucky number, and I think it's China or Japan. Yeah, I agree. Sean, you tell me the last time you've seen some just complete. I don't even know what to say about Seiya Suzuki. I mean, if you look at his statistics before the All-Star break, and you look at his statistics now, you're like, he literally hasn't done anything since the All-Star break. But before the All-Star break, he might have been the best hitter in baseball. How does that happen?
How does that happen? it's truly been an anomaly. I really don't know what else to say because I keep saying to myself, he's going to snap out of it. He's going to snap out of it. He's going to snap out of it, and he's not. I'm trying to. I had his numbers. So I'm trying to find his numbers post break here.
Yeah, and Sean, you could talk a lot about Kyle Tucker and how as the Cubs slump, as he slumps, the Cubs slump with him. But I could make an argument that Seiya Suzuki is a big chunk of the reason why the Cubs have had so much trouble in the second half here. I mean, that guy has become.
100%.
I don't even, Sean. Don't even tell me he's left on base. Don't tell me he's left on base because I'll throw
I'm
up.
not even going to look it up because I don't want to depress everybody.
Yeah, I don't know what Seiya Suzuki's men
good.
left on base has to be absolutely astronomical. I feel like every time Seiya Suzuki strikes out, there's 3 guys on base. Like every single time.
I agree. I agree. And ladies and gentlemen, Boyd has taken the hill, and I don't want to take you away from watching your favorite baseball team. So we're gonna put we're gonna get our predictions in. If I can find it, we're gonna get our predictions in our favorite segment, looking ahead. We're gonna take a look at this week to come. We got 2
Thanks,
left.
Foster.
Thanks, Foster. Love you, buddy. Keep up the good work over there on BCP. We got 2 games left against Washington. If I can find that Washington series, here it is. For some reason, Mackenzie Gore was removed from the rotation. He was originally slated to pitch in Game 3. We now have Alvarez on the bump. He's making his second start in Major League Baseball tomorrow. So, John
Sean, well, first of all, I want to just get to this comment because we got a new guy in the chat here. We appreciate it. He says, all of his hard hits are center field. Teams no longer set him up on 2 strike counts. They hammer him with sliders and sweepers early in the count, and he can't adjust. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, it's those off-speed pitches. And then, Sean, Mike Ross did it.
What do you do?
Here's his comment.
Oh, God.
222 men left on base. And he said,
I was trying not to depress people.
Oh, my God.
I was really trying not to depress people. Hey, Mike, if you have it up, who's the next closest to him on the Cubs? It might be Dansby Swanson.
222 men left on base. 222 runs left on the bases. That's insane. That's
Swanson
insane.
might be close.
All right, sorry, Sean. Let's get back to it, guys.
All
right,
John. John, you're in. Erica, you want to make your predictions this week? We're going to throw this back up here.
Mike, we got Mike, if you want to.
Yep, everybody. Anybody who wants to throw it in. I'm going to rally up here at the end of September, and Matthew Boyd has just started the game with a double in the gap to CJ Abrams. No outs, runner on second for Washington. Boyd on the hill against Lord right now, and then you have the second start of Alvarez's career versus Colin Ray tomorrow. Where are we going with these boys?
I got to take the sweep, dude. If you can't sweep the Nationals, then get the hell out of Dodge. Yeah. Sean, John's got him at 1-1.
Let's go 2-0.
All right.
And Sean,
worked for him last week.
Mike says he's done. He's done with Boyd too. I'm assuming he just saw that double. And Erica says, "Ouch!" to say Suzuki's left on base number.
Yeah. All right, we have and it's going to be 1-0 more. 1-0 to Washington. Oh no, he stopped at third. Runners on first and third, no outs, and Boyd is getting tattooed early. Yeah. Oh boy, the Bulls, the Cubs ship off to Hotlanta. You got Shota versus Wentz rematch from last week. Tyon ? Supposed to come off the DL in this series. So that game is still a question if that's going to happen 110%. And then you have a fantastic matchup to close it out in Hotlanta. Horton and Sale. Where do we got the Cubs in this one, boys?
3-0.
Oh, my God. Another hit. 1-0.
I'm going to go 1-2.
Yeah.
You're going to go 1-2. You're going to take 2 for Atlanta.
Yeah.
Or 2-1, maybe. Yeah.
I think Craig Counsell is going to give them a game, and I think they're going to go 1-1 in the other 2 games. Yeah. Sean, Erica's got 3-0. John's got 3-0 against Atlanta. Erica's got 3-0 again. Erica, what do you got in these last 2 games against Washington?
1, 2, 3.
3-0
for John. I think I'm going to take Kyle's boat here, and I think I'm going to go 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah.
Erica,
Yeah, because you know what they're going to do.
sweet.
Yeah. And then Erica's got 0-2 against Washington.
0-2 versus Washington?
Yeah, she's living here 0-2. So she
Okay.
got 0-2 against Washington. John's got 1-1 against Washington, 3-0 against Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, Wharton Sale, that's the game where Craig's going to put that shitty lineup in for sure. That's going to be the game. And that's your against Chris Sale, you're done.
And then we got 3-1-20 games, but the only game that we have to look at this moment would be Boyd versus Baz back at Wrigley. And
I'm taking the win.
Yeah.
Taking the win.
Yeah.
We finally got an out, and the runners didn't advance. Short fly ball to right field. Thank God. I'm gonna take the loss. You're gonna take the win, Kyle.
Yeah,
I'll take the win. Yeah.
Bruce, you have them perfect.
Bruce, you have them at 78-0 next week.
Okay.
John and Eric, what do y'all got for this one?
John's got 0-1 for that game, Sean. So 4-2 for the week for John.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, off a Horner's glove. Bases are loaded.
And
Dude,
then,
all this has happened on 7 pitches, guys.
Erica, we just got to get your prediction for Boyd. Let's get out of here so we can go watch this game. Erica's got one more game to pick. So, Sean, what do you got everybody at? Bruce is at what? 6-0?
Bruce is undefeated.
6-0.
Kyle's 4-2. I'm 3-3.
Yeah.
John's 4-2. Erica's 3-2 currently, but Erica's going 3-3. Erica and I are 3-3. Kyle's 4-2 with John, and Bruce has the Cubs red hot and winning 6 straight ball games.
And John, Chicago dude 88 just says here, Cubs have dropped games in 7 of Boyd's last 8 starts.
That's and actually last week, Chicago dude, we kind of went over Boyd's collapse, and it hasn't been good. He just fired a 96-mile-per-hour fastball, though, right on the inside corner, and got the call. So that is beautiful. Now, if he can get a ground ball and get out of this inning 1-0, that would be even more beautiful.
All right, well, it's in the books. We got the record of the books, guys. We appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for joining the show, man. Thank you so much. And we'll cross that Justin Steele bridge when we get to it. Chicago dude 88. We appreciate you joining the show, man. Thank you. As always, John, Erica, Foster.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? Breaking news, Bruce. Liz was in the house. Mike Ross was in the house.
Hey, and really quick, guys, before we get out of here, Kyle and I,
Phil,
and Jay, and Brando will be at the Bears game on Monday. We are going to be around the stadium. We are going to be going live on 4-Star Chicago Sports, our Facebook group page, and our Facebook page. We're going to be interviewing fans around the stadium. We're going to have Bearman. We're going to interview Bearman. If you guys don't know who Bearman is, he's the guy who puts the bear head on, paints his face, has the claws, the full Bears uniform. We're going to be with him. We're going to interview him. We're going to get his thoughts on the 2025 season and just some random fans. And I have a 14-year-old because last year our kid nailed it on the opener. So we got a 14-year-old already lined up for this. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then pay attention to the start.
So he's talking about a score projection. Yeah. So he asked everybody the score projection. And one of Sean's buddies has a 14-year-old daughter, and she picked the Bears score to the T last year. So we're going to give her another shot at it.
My buddy's children that they just bought tickets today, and I said, you're going to be our child interview of the week. He's a diehard Bears fan. His dad told me, Dylan. He told me he screams at the TV like I do. So this should be great. But pay attention. We are going to go live at halftime, and we are going to try and do a little bit of a live show from the parking lot ahead and get our final thoughts before we go into the stadium. So pay attention to all that. We're not going to have a true show on Monday. Obviously, the Bears will be on. Kyle will be back on Wednesday, probably with Brando. And we'll figure out Saturday as we cross that bridge, because I'm going to be out of town all next week right after the Bears game. So I'm going to be missing in action. But until then, we love you guys. Bear down.
Peace
The
out.
Cubs got out of it. No big deal. 1-0.
Yeah.
They can still
Yeah.
pull this ball game out today.
Yes.
So until then, Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle,
Yes. What's up?
I think- what do you always say before we get out of here?
You guys take care of yourselves so you can
Yeah,
take
take
care of each other. And we will see you guys. We'll see you on Monday, at least for a little bit, guys. Go Bears, man. And go
Bears.
Let's the Cubs go beat the shit out of the Washington Nationals for the next 2 games.
Please.
Yes.
Go beat the
Please.
shit out of this team.
Bears on Monday.
Team's a
Yep.
joke.
Bear down. Come
Bruce,
up, everybody.
love you, man. Everybody, love you
Yeah,
guys.
you too, man. Love you too, man.